Have you ever stood and watched a magnificent old oak tree in a storm? Its branches might sway and its leaves might tremble, but its roots, thick and deep, hold it fast to the earth. It is a symbol of strength, of endurance, of a life lived long and well. For many of us, the goal of aging is to become like that tree, weathered perhaps, but fundamentally unshakable, still standing tall and proud. Yet, as the years advance, particularly past the milestone of 80, a disquieting fear begins to creep in. It's the fear of a sudden gust of wind, a moment of imbalance, a fall that could change everything. So many believe this unsteadiness is an unavoidable tax on a long life, a simple consequence of the body growing old. But what if that belief is fundamentally wrong? What if the loss of balance that plagues so many older adults isn't a single catastrophic event, but rather the culmination of 1,000 tiny, unnoticed missteps? It's not the one big storm that threatens the oak tree, but the slow, silent erosion of the soil around its roots. These are the small, everyday habits, the choices made without a second thought, that quietly chip away at our foundation until even a simple walk across the living room feels like a perilous journey. The truth is, balance is far more than the physical act of staying upright. It is the invisible thread that weaves through every aspect of our independence. It's the confidence to walk to the mailbox, the freedom to play with your grandchildren in the park, the ability to navigate a grocery store without gripping the cart like a lifeline. When we lose our balance, we begin to lose pieces of our life. We start saying no to social invitations. We avoid stares. We give up hobbies that once brought us joy. Our world, once broad and full of possibilities, begins to shrink, defined by the fear of what might happen if we take a wrong step. This is not a story about surrendering to age. It's a story about empowerment. There are countless men and women in their 80s and 90s who move with a grace and stability that would be the envy of people decades younger. They aren't genetic marvels. They are simply individuals who have instinctively or intentionally avoided the common pitfalls that compromise our stability. They have protected the soil around their roots. In the journey we are about to embark on, we will unearth the 5 most destructive mistakes that silently sabotage the balance of older adults. These aren't obscure medical conditions. They are common, everyday errors that nearly everyone makes. By understanding them, we can begin to correct them, rebuilding our foundation one conscious choice at a time. Stay with me, because the last point we'll discuss is often the most surprising, and it's one that holds the power to make an immediate difference in your daily life. Let's begin by exploring the silent architect of our equilibrium, a delicate and powerful system hidden away from sight. One of the most profoundly overlooked culprits in the decline of balance after 80 lies deep within the inner ear. This intricate, labyrinthine structure does more than just process sound. It houses the vestibular system, your body's personal gyroscope. Imagine a tiny, sophisticated level, complete with microscopic crystals and fluid-filled canals, constantly sending lightning-fast signals to your brain about every tilt, turn, and acceleration of your head. It's this system that tells your brain whether you are standing still, walking forward, or turning a corner, allowing it to make instantaneous adjustments to keep you centered and stable. When this internal compass is functioning perfectly, you move through the world with an unconscious confidence. But as the years pass, this delicate system can begin to falter. The tiny crystals called otoconia can become dislodged and float into the wrong canals, sending confusing signals that trigger a condition known as benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, or BPPV. This can cause intense, short-lived bouts of dizziness whenever you change your head position, like rolling over in bed or looking up at a high shelf. Other age-related changes, fluid buildup, or even minor ear infections can disrupt the delicate harmony of the vestibular system. The brain, suddenly starved of clear, reliable information, begins to feel lost in space. The result is a deeply unsettling sensation. The ground might feel like it's tilting, the room might seem to spin, or you might just feel a persistent, vague sense of unsteadiness. The insidious nature of these inner ear problems is how gradually they often develop. It might start as a fleeting moment of lightheadedness when you stand up too quickly. You might brush it off as nothing. Then you might notice a slight disorientation when turning your head to back the car out of the driveway. Over months and years, these small, disconnected moments accumulate, planting a seed of doubt in your mind. You begin to lose trust in your own body. This is where the real damage begins. Have you ever experienced a moment like this, a sudden feeling of dizziness that left you feeling unnerved? Share your story in the comments below. It helps to know you're not alone in this. To compensate for this internal confusion, you might unconsciously start to change your behavior. You might walk more slowly, with your feet wider apart, hoping to create a more stable base. You might start avoiding uneven sidewalks or grassy parks, sticking only to perfectly flat, familiar surfaces. You begin to hold on to furniture as you walk through your own home, a place where you once moved with effortless freedom. This cautiousness, while seeming like a smart adaptation, creates a dangerous feedback loop. By reducing your activity and limiting your range of motion, you are inadvertently weakening the very muscles and reflexes you need to maintain good balance, making the initial problem even worse. I once met a gentleman named Frank, an 84-year-old retired engineer from Austin, Texas, whose greatest joy was his daily walk through the Zilker Botanical Garden. He loved observing the seasonal changes, the subtle shifts in the landscape. But over several months, he found that turning his head to look at a particular flower or a passing bird would trigger a wave of dizziness. He started to dread these moments. Soon, he was keeping his head rigidly straight, his eyes fixed on the path directly in front of him. The joy was gone, replaced by anxiety. Eventually, he stopped his walks altogether, telling his family that he was just getting too old for it. His world shrank from a vibrant garden to the four walls of his house. It was only when his daughter convinced him to see a specialist that he was diagnosed with a vestibular disorder. The solution wasn't medication or surgery, but a series of simple, gentle head and neck exercises performed with a physical therapist. Within a few weeks, the dizzy spell subsided. Frank's brain had learned to recalibrate itself. Soon, he was back in the garden, his head turning freely, his confidence restored. His story is a powerful reminder that these issues are not a life sentence. The crucial message here is not to ignore the subtle whispers from your body. If you experience frequent dizziness, a feeling of being pulled to one side, or difficulty focusing your eyes when you move, it is not just a part of getting older that you have to accept. A consultation with your doctor, an audiologist, or an ENT specialist can lead to a diagnosis. Many inner ear and vestibular issues are remarkably treatable. Reclaiming your balance might be as simple as a series of guided exercises, restoring not just your physical stability, but your freedom to engage with the world without fear. If you're finding this exploration of the body's hidden systems valuable, please let me know by commenting with the number 1 below. Your feedback helps me create content that truly matters to you. However, this internal compass is only one part of the complex system that keeps us upright. Your brain relies on another powerful ally to navigate the world, an ally that gathers a torrent of information every waking moment: your eyes. Your vision does so much more than allow you to read a book or recognize a grandchild's smile. It is a primary input for your balance. With every glance, your eyes scan the environment, sending critical data to your brain about distance, depth, texture, and potential obstacles. Your brain then integrates this visual map with the signals from your inner ear and the sensations from your feet to create a seamless, stable experience of movement. As we journey past 80, however, the clarity of this visual map can begin to fade. Common age-related eye conditions like cataracts can cast a cloudy film over the world, washing out colors and blurring sharp edges. Glaucoma can silently steal away your peripheral vision, creating a kind of tunnel vision that makes you unaware of objects or changes in elevation to your sides. Macular degeneration can smudge out the very center of your vision, making it difficult to see details directly in front of you. Even a simple change in your prescription can make the world seem less certain. When your vision isn't sharp, your brain receives corrupted data. That subtle crack in the sidewalk might become invisible. The edge of a stair might blur into the one below it. A dark rug on a dark floor can become a tripping hazard you never see coming. This forces your brain to work overtime. It has to struggle to make sense of the fuzzy, incomplete visual information, all while trying to coordinate with your muscles and inner ear. This extra processing time, even if it's just a fraction of a second, can be the difference between catching yourself after a stumble and suffering a serious fall. Think about walking into a dark room. You instinctively slow down, put your hands out, and take shorter, more tentative steps. This is what it can feel like to navigate the world with compromised vision, even in broad daylight. The environment itself can amplify these challenges. Poor lighting is a notorious accomplice in vision-related falls. Dimly lit hallways, shadowy staircases, or the blinding glare from an afternoon sun streaming through a window can all create optical illusions, hiding hazards or making surfaces appear different than they are. Over time, you might unconsciously start to adapt in ways that limit your life. You might stop going out after dusk. You might avoid unfamiliar places. You might find yourself confined to a few well-lit rooms in your own home. Again, this self-imposed limitation leads to reduced activity, which in turn leads to muscle weakness and a further decline in balance. It's a vicious cycle fueled by visual uncertainty. I recall a conversation with Eleanor, an 82-year-old from Charleston, who was the heart and soul of her weekly book club. She began to feel increasingly unsteady, especially during her evening walks home. She attributed it to fatigue or just her age, a common refrain we often use to dismiss concerning symptoms. She started declining invitations to friends' houses in the evening, afraid of navigating their unfamiliar walkways in the dim light. During a routine visit to her ophthalmologist, she was diagnosed with early-stage cataracts. After a straightforward procedure to correct them, her world snapped back into focus. She later told me it was like a veil had been lifted, not just from her eyes, but from her life. She suddenly noticed the intricate patterns of the brick sidewalks she had been so afraid of. She resumed her evening walks and her book club meetings with a renewed sense of confidence. If this story resonates with you and you find these insights helpful, a simple way to show your support is to hit the like button. It tells YouTube that this content is valuable and helps it reach more people who need to hear it. The encouraging takeaway is that many vision-related balance problems are highly preventable or manageable. The first and most critical step is scheduling regular, comprehensive eye exams. Don't wait for your vision to become noticeably blurry. An eye doctor can detect conditions like glaucoma, hallways, and stairways. Use night lights. Apply brightly colored non-slip tape to the edge of each step. Remove throw rugs that can slide or create visual confusion. Your vision is a precious gift, not just for seeing the world, but for safely moving through it. Protecting it is a direct investment in your stability and your independence. Now, let's move from the sensory systems that perceive the world to the physical structures that carry us through it. While the inner ear and eyes provide the map, it is your leg muscles that provide the power and stability to follow it. Weak or inactive leg muscles are one of the most common and perhaps most correctable reasons that older adults lose their balance. Your legs are the pillars of your body, the foundation upon which everything else rests. Every time you stand up from a sofa, climb a flight of stairs, step off a curb, or simply shift your weight from one foot to the other, a complex symphony of muscles in your legs is firing to keep you stable. The problem is that as we get older, our lifestyles often become more sedentary. We might spend more hours reading in a favorite chair, watching television, or working on a computer. We might consciously avoid stairs in favor of elevators, or choose to drive to the corner store instead of walking. Each of these choices, seemingly insignificant on its own, is a missed opportunity to engage and strengthen our leg muscles. Over time, this cumulative inactivity leads to sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. The powerful muscle groups in your legs, the quadriceps at the front of your thighs, the hamstrings at the back, the glutes in your buttocks, and the calves in your lower legs begin to atrophy. Standing on weakened legs is like trying to build a house on a foundation of sand. Your body becomes inherently less stable, more prone to swaying, and your reaction time plummets. This deficit in reaction time is critical. Imagine you're walking and your foot unexpectedly catches on the edge of a rug. In a person with strong legs, the muscles react in a split second. The other leg plants firmly, the core engages, and the arms flail out to restore equilibrium. You might stumble, but you recover. In a person with weakened, inactive leg muscles, that same split-second reaction is too slow and too weak. The leg muscles don't have the power to catch you, and the stumble turns into a fall. It's not just about brute strength either. Active muscles are rich with proprioceptors, sensory receptors that tell your brain where your limbs are in space. Strong legs provide clearer feedback, helping your brain make smarter, faster adjustments to your movement. You might be noticing the early signs of this decline without even realizing it. Do you find yourself using your arms to push yourself up out of a chair? Is it becoming more difficult to climb stairs without holding on to the railing? Do you feel a sense of fatigue or shakiness in your legs after standing for a prolonged period, perhaps while cooking or waiting in line? These are not just minor annoyances. They are signals from your body that your muscular foundation is eroding. It's a gradual process, but one with profound consequences for your mobility and your safety. Have you noticed any of these changes in yourself or a loved one? Sharing your experience in the comments can create a supportive community for everyone here. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. We are committed to bringing you content like this that can genuinely improve your quality of life, and your subscription ensures you won't miss a thing. I remember speaking with Robert, a 79-year-old retired mailman from Denver, who had spent his entire career walking for miles every day. After retiring, and especially after a long, cold winter kept him mostly indoors, he noticed a startling change. He felt unsteady on his feet, even on the flat, familiar sidewalks of his own neighborhood. He stumbled twice in 1 week, something that had never happened before. He was confused and frustrated, believing his years of activity should have protected him. His doctor explained it perfectly. Muscle strength isn't like a savings account you can draw on forever. It's a use it or lose it proposition. Those months of inactivity had been enough to significantly weaken his legs. The good news, and it is truly wonderful news, is that it's never too late to rebuild that strength. You don't need to start training for a marathon or lifting heavy weights at a gym. The key is gentle, consistent movement that challenges your muscles just enough to stimulate growth. You can start right now, in your own home.
When you're watching television, stand up from your chair and sit back down 10 times during a commercial break, trying not to use your hands. While you're waiting for the microwave or brushing your teeth, practice standing on one leg, holding onto a counter for support. Start with 10 seconds and gradually increase the time. Do simple heel raises, lifting yourself up onto your toes and slowly lowering back down to strengthen your calves. Integrating these small exercise snacks into your daily routine can make a monumental difference. Keeping your legs strong is not about vanity. It is one of the most direct and effective ways to safeguard your independence, your mobility, and your confidence with every single step you take. As we build upon this idea of a strong foundation, we must also consider the structure that sits atop it. The alignment of your entire body, your posture, has a direct and dramatic effect on your ability to maintain balance. Over the decades, many of us develop subtle postural habits that slowly pull our bodies out of their natural, efficient alignment. Shoulders begin to round forward, the head drifts ahead of the spine as if perpetually peering at something on the ground, and the upper back develops an exaggerated curve. These changes might seem purely cosmetic, but biomechanically they are creating a state of chronic instability.
Think of your body as a tower of blocks. When the blocks are stacked perfectly, one on top of the other, the tower is stable and requires very little energy to keep it standing. This is good posture. Your head is balanced over your shoulders, which are balanced over your hips, which are balanced over your feet. Your center of gravity is securely within your base of support. But when your posture shifts, when your head juts forward and your shoulders slump, the top blocks are now leaning precariously. To keep the tower from toppling, your muscles have to work constantly, straining to pull you back from the brink of falling. This shifts your center of gravity forward, making you inherently top-heavy and much easier to tip over. When this becomes your habitual posture, a cascade of negative effects follows. The muscles in your back, hips, and core, which are designed to be your primary stabilizers, can become weak and underused because they are no longer holding you in an upright position. At the same time, other muscles, particularly in your neck and upper back, become chronically tight and overworked, leading to stiffness and pain. That discomfort often creates another vicious cycle. Pain leads to less movement, and less movement leads to weaker muscles and even worse posture. A forward-leaning, hunched posture also physically limits your field of vision. You end up looking at the ground just a few feet in front of you, meaning you might not see an obstacle, a change in terrain, or another person in your path until it's too late. I once worked with a lovely 82-year-old woman named Helen, whose passion was her sprawling rose garden in Pasadena, California. She began finding herself tripping over hoses or uneven stepping stones, things she had navigated for years without a thought. Her physical therapist made a simple but profound observation. Over the years, from bending over her roses, her posture had shifted into a slight forward lean that she no longer even noticed. That small, constant lean meant her weight was already off-center before she even took a step. Any small misstep was enough to push her past the point of no return. Through a dedicated routine of gentle stretching to open up her chest, strengthening exercises for her back muscles, and conscious reminders to stand tall and lift her heart to the sun, Helen gradually brought her body back into alignment. She felt more stable, her gardening became a joy again instead of a hazard, and she walked with a renewed sense of poise. If you're finding this deep dive into the mechanics of balance helpful, let me know by commenting with the number 4 below. And please, if you haven't yet, take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications. Your support is what allows us to keep producing this kind of in-depth, life-enhancing content.
One of the biggest challenges with posture is its gradual, sneaky onset. You don't wake up one morning with a hunched back. It happens millimeter by millimeter, year by year. That's why it's so important to build a habit of checking in with your alignment. A simple way to do this is the wall test. Stand with your back against a flat wall.
The back of your head, your shoulder blades, and your hips should all be able to comfortably touch the wall at the same time. If this feels strained or unnatural, it's a sign that your posture may have shifted forward. The wonderful news is that posture is malleable at any age. Simple stretches, like standing in a doorway and gently pressing your arms against the frame to open your chest, can counteract the forward slump. Strengthening exercises that target your back and core muscles provide the support needed to hold you upright. Most importantly, it requires mindfulness, a conscious effort throughout the day to lift your chin, draw your shoulders back, and walk tall. When your body is aligned and balanced from head to toe, every step you take feels more secure, and you are far better prepared to handle any unexpected bumps in the road. We have now examined the internal systems of the ear and eye, the muscular foundation of the legs, and the structural alignment of the body. We come now to the final and perhaps most immediately practical point, the very surface that connects your body to the ground. The footwear you choose to put on your feet every single day can be the deciding factor between a day of confident, steady steps and a day that ends in a dangerous fall. It is a mistake that is shockingly common, as many older adults continue to wear the same styles of shoes that worked for them decades ago, not realizing that their feet, their gait, and their balance needs have changed dramatically. Shoes that are too loose, that have worn-out, slippery soles, or that lack any semblance of proper support can turn a simple walk across a tile floor into a high-risk activity. Even features that seem benign, like a small 1-inch heel or a narrow pointed toe box, can force your foot into an unnatural position, subtly altering your gait and throwing off your entire body's stability without you ever making the connection. The problem is often rooted in a preference for what feels comfortable in the short term, without considering the long-term safety implications. Those soft, fleece-lined, backless slippers may feel cozy on a cold morning, but if they have no structure and no grip, they can easily slide out from under you. Fashionable loafers, while perfectly fine for a dinner out, might have slick leather soles that offer zero traction on a smooth surface. Perhaps the most common error is simply continuing to wear old, beloved favorites that are long past their prime. We all have that pair of walking shoes that have molded perfectly to our feet, but we often ignore the telltale signs of wear: the tread on the outsole worn smooth, the fabric stretched out and no longer supportive, the cushioning in the midsole completely compressed. I remember meeting a 78-year-old gentleman who had 2 near falls on wet pavement in a single week. He blamed the weather, but when his daughter inspected his trusted walking shoes, the soles were as slick as glass. The tread was completely gone. After he switched to a new pair with a firm, non-slip rubber sole and good arch support, he felt an immediate, profound difference in his sense of security. Another hidden danger is wearing the wrong size. Our feet change as we age. They can flatten, widen, or be prone to swelling. The shoe size you wore at 50 might not be the correct size for you at 80. Shoes that are too tight can create pain, numbness, and poor circulation, all of which interfere with the sensory feedback from your feet. Shoes that are too loose allow your foot to slide around inside, creating an unstable platform that can easily lead to a slip or a rolled ankle. Taking the time to have your feet professionally measured is a simple but critically important step. So what should you look for? The ideal shoe for stability has a low, wide heel to provide a solid base of support. The outsole should be made of a non-slip material with a good tread pattern for grip.
It should have a firm heel counter, the part that cups the back of your heel to prevent your foot from rolling inward or outward. The shoe should fasten securely with laces or Velcro rather than being a slip-on to hold your foot firmly in place. Finally, avoid overly thick, squishy, or maximalist soles. While they may feel comfortable, they can insulate your feet from the ground, dulling the crucial sensory information you need to feel the terrain and maintain your balance. Choosing the right footwear for both inside and outside the home is one of the most powerful and immediate changes you can make to protect yourself. Every safe step begins from the ground up, and the right shoes provide the solid foundation you need to move through your day with confidence. As we draw our thoughts to a close, let's return to the image of that old oak tree. The loss of balance after 80 is not an inevitability, not a sudden lightning strike that splits the trunk in two. It is, far more often, the slow erosion of the soil around the roots, caused by small, everyday habits that go unnoticed until the tree begins to lean. The good news, the wonderfully empowering news, is that you are the gardener of your own life. By becoming aware of these common mistakes, neglecting your inner ear health, allowing your vision to decline, letting your leg muscles weaken, accepting poor posture, and choosing unsafe footwear, you can begin to make conscious changes that will nurture and strengthen your foundation for years to come. Balance is so much more than just preventing a fall. It is the quiet guardian of your freedom. It is the key that unlocks your ability to live a full, active, and engaged life on your own terms. Every small step you take toward better strength, clearer vision, taller posture, and safer habits is a profound investment in your future quality of life. I have seen countless individuals in their late 70s, 80s, and even 90s reclaim a remarkable degree of stability simply by making these consistent, thoughtful adjustments. They rediscover a sense of security and joy in their daily movements that they thought was lost forever.
It is never, ever too late to begin. You can start today with something as simple as standing on one foot for a few seconds while you hold on to the kitchen counter. You can schedule that long overdue eye exam. You can take a critical look at the shoes by your door and decide if they are truly serving you. You can take a walk around your home and identify and remove tripping hazards. Every single action matters. With each small improvement, you are not just protecting your physical health, you are reinforcing your confidence in your own body and your own capabilities. You have spent a lifetime building the life you have now. Do not let these avoidable mistakes chip away at the independence and dignity you have so rightfully earned. Choose to stand tall, to move with intention, and to take active charge of your stability. The years ahead can and should be filled with activity and joy as long as you treat your balance as the precious priority it is. Thank you for joining us on this important journey today. We would be honored to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share the one insight from this discussion that resonated with you the most and how you might begin to apply it in your own life. Your stories and thoughts are a source of great motivation for us and for this entire community. If you found this video helpful and informative, please show your support by giving it a like, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with anyone who might benefit. Your support is what enables us to continue creating meaningful content designed to inform and inspire. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.